Welcome back, everybody, to Devil's Advocate with Rosebud Baker. I am Rosebud Baker, and here I am. It's me, just me, again. I was thinking about doing a Zoom episode, but I had an experience on Zoom this week that just made me go, you know what? Fuck that. Several experiences on Zoom this week where it made me say, fuck that. I actually did a podcast on All Things Comedy Network called Bad Science with Ethan Edinburgh. And this wasn't a bad experience, by the way. This was great. But we were talking to this scientist who tranquilizes bears so that she can help their babies. So she has to tranquilize a mother bear before she can help their babies. And she explained the whole process to us. And she's like, yeah, we just go down there with a jab stick. We tranquilize the mother bear. We take the babies out and we treat the babies. And after she told that story, the podcast cut off, the recording equipment cut off. Zoom got fucked up. We had to start over 6 times. And I was like, holy shit, it's actually easier to tranquilize a bear in the wild than it is to record a podcast on Zoom. So I decided to do a solo ep again. And it is a solo ep, but it's not quite a completely solo episode, honestly, because I went to you guys. I went to the people. I organized. I planned. I mean, yes, I planned 10 minutes before the podcast was being recorded, but that doesn't matter. Okay? Don't focus on my flaws. Thank you. Before we get into all of that, though, I want to thank everybody for subscribing to the podcast, for leaving reviews, especially on iTunes. It helps kind of get the visibility of this podcast up. As I've said before, lets people know what you love about it and gives a much needed boost to my crumbling ego as the days go on in this fucking quarantine. The good news is I am not sick anymore. I don't have corona anymore or whatever the fuck I had. Some people are like, hey, you're somebody was making fun of me. They were like, oh, you're clout chasing if you have coronavirus, but you haven't been tested. And I was like, clout chasing for what? Who's weakest? I don't understand. Why would I be clout chasing a disease that attacks old people? Why? Just explain that to me. Anyway, the internet is a disgusting place. And you shouldn't go there. Even though I do every day, several times a day. My fucking screen time reports are literally just are you okay, bitch? That's all my phone is telling. It's just asking me if I'm all right. Okay, I got my coffee. I got my Jewel. I got my LaCroix. I got the whole Rosebud Baker starter pack right now. And so thank you guys sorry, I didn't finish the announcement. Thank you guys for leaving reviews and for subscribing to the podcast and for screenshotting it while you're listening and putting it on Instagram and TikTok and all that. I appreciate it because it does let people know. And people are hungry. They're thirsty for content. Okay? They want it. They want to know what my stupid inner thoughts are because they're trying to avoid their own. And I can't blame them. I can't. Okay? I went on Quibi today. I was looking at shows on Quibi. All right? Like some goddamn Gen Y person. Anyway, this podcast is also available on my YouTube channel, Rosebud Baker, if you want to tune in that way. And you can subscribe on there as well and say whatever you want to say in the comments section. But please be nice because I am close to chewing my wrists open. I'm so bored. Okay, let's get into it, you guys. Let's get into it. I went into Instagram today and I asked, what do you guys want to hear? What do you guys want me to talk about? What's on your minds? What are you thinking about? Okay? Like a politician caring about the people, you know, utilizing my Illuminati background to go to the people, see what they want, and then take control and ignore them. No, you guys had some good suggestions. You also had some weird ones. The first one that we're going to get into, the first question that was asked of me was for non-medical personnel, will we soon have to make our own gloves, our own handmade gloves? And I really thought about this. I think, we're flattening the curve. I hope. It's got to be getting flatter. Please, Jesus Christ. But if it doesn't, I think the first thing that's going to go out, obviously, is gloves. Yeah, I think the gloves are going to go. And what does that leave? Fingerless gloves. And how do you take care of that? You put a condom on every finger underneath the fingerless glove. There you go. You got yourself full coverage gloves. And a shitload of quarantine babies. So we can keep the human race alive. There you go. You're welcome. Am I a problem solver? Yes. Do I give good advice when I want to? Do I take it in my own life? Abso-fucking-lutely not. I cannot believe how much I have done to make my life chaotic when it could have been like the most peaceful it's ever been. Like getting that puppy, you guys, was insane. Why did we do that? We got this fucking puppy. It wakes up at 6:30 in the morning. I think I had said on the podcast last week that I was like ready to end my life as I knew it, but I didn't want to commit suicide, because I'm a coward. But I got a puppy, which it pretty much did the job. I mean, it definitely made me rethink the whole having a baby thing, because like, what a nightmare. I mean, how the fuck, I don't know how parents do that. I know how dads do it, which is like by not doing it. But moms, I can't imagine. I can't imagine waking up and having to unbuckle my tit from my overall sized bra. You know what I mean? My overall strapped bra, and having to feed it to a tiny tyrant that wants to bite my nipples. I can't imagine waking up every day and doing that. That being said, I am not practicing safe sex in the midst of this quarantine. And if I'm not pregnant by the end of this, I'm done. My eggs are dead. Anyway, it's a weird way to announce that you're trying to get pregnant. And I'm not. I'm really not. Like, I'm not trying to get pregnant. I think just sex is like more fun when you might get pregnant. And that's a fucked up kink to have, It's a dangerous kink to have. But I'm sober. I can't have dangerous sex. Unless I'm literally like, this is the way that I'm fucking up my life. Oh my God, I'm saying too much on here. Doesn't matter. Who gives a shit? My family watches this. Anyway, next question. Next topic given to me by the people is side ponytails. They just want me to talk about side ponytails. It's a hard-hitting issue. They're not interested in my deeper thoughts. They just want to know, hey, what do you think of this hairstyle? They didn't say, should we bring it back? They didn't say, do you love them? Do you hate them? It was just side ponytails. That's all they wanted me to talk about for a full 45-minute podcast. You guys. Oh my God. And I get it. I would listen to someone talk about how to break eggs on the internet. I'd listen to somebody talk about how to screw in a light bulb. No jokes, no blonde jokes, nothing. Just genuinely like, hey, what's the best way to do this if you're short? I would listen to somebody talk about their golf swing And I've never played golf and I have no interest in it whatsoever. That's how I'm feeling, you know? I'm like, just expand my mind in some fucking way because I can't take it anymore. I can't take my own bullshit thoughts. Anyway, that being said, I haven't fucking learned a single thing while I've been in here. Nothing. But to speak to your topic, friend who wrote in, side ponytails, to me, I think we should bring them back. Why not? You know, it says you're a gal who's not afraid to get her hands dirty playing with a bedazzler. And that's a beautiful thing to be. You know, girls with side ponytails always make me think of rhinestones and T-shirts, you know, tied up in a knot, like at your waist. Not even like a halter tie, just like at your waist. Makes me think of floral print leggings. God, I used to wear my hair in a side ponytail as a kid with these like bright floral print leggings. And I remember they used to make these weird things where you could tie your t-shirt into, it was like a brooch for tying your t-shirt. And they were always made of plastic and you could get them in a Happy Meal. I mean, you could get them out of a vending machine. It was like, that was how high class they were. But I had one and I thought I was the shit. I thought I looked like Princess fucking Diana without the weird haircut. I hated her haircut. I remember everybody being so into Princess Di and being a kid and being like, yeah, but her hair's so ugly. I'm sorry. I know she's a martyr and a hero and you know, we've made her a cultural whatever. But you know, we also killed her because we read every shitty article we could find on her. Okay, so this next one, how did I get from side ponytails to Princess Di? This is becoming a podcast where I just really go in on a topic and then I just go wherever the fuck it takes me. And you know what? I'm fucking into it. I don't need to stick to a goddamn topic. I know this girl wanted me to talk about side ponytails for 45 minutes, but guess what? Sometimes you start with side ponytails and you end with the politicized murder of a princess. The video just stopped because my friend was trying to call me on House Party. If you don't know what House Party is, it's the most invasive way to FaceTime your friends. Because here's the thing, they can FaceTime you. It's an app. You can like FaceTime a friend and then your other friends find out that you're on House Party and they can join in your conversation unless you lock the room. And if you lock the room, it all of a sudden feels like you're having like a more important conversation than you actually are. But truth be told, you just don't want to be bothered by people that you don't like. And anyone who you've friended on House Party can just join in. Like it doesn't, and it's like people that aren't well liked never know that. They don't fucking know. They're just trying to be fucking pals with people. So you got to be nice. And then here's the thing. If you hop into a conversation, if you're the last person to join a House Party call and that call dissipates within 5 minutes after you've joined, you ruined the house party. And that's something you need to know. Okay? You made it weird. Just by being there. You didn't have to say anything. You didn't have to do anything. You just wrecked it just by being yourself. Okay? Don't blame yourself for it, but know that it happened. And don't do it again, is what I'm saying. You know, maybe text somebody. Just text them, hey, see you're on House Party. Mind if I join? Could I join in your combo? No? Cool. Great. You know, because sometimes people forget to lock the room because it's a weird fucking thing to have to do when you're trying to FaceTime. Also, just FaceTime your friend. Don't go on house party. Like, I have friends that try to FaceTime me on house party and then they lock the room and I'm like, now this feels illicit. Anyway. That was a big old gulp of coffee. Sorry, I did that into the mic. This person wants me to talk about why I got sober and what it's like ending a 6-year relationship. And I will. However, I was thinking, because I've gotten a ton of messages this week from people who are trying to get sober in quarantine. And they're like, it's really tough and it's really hard. And yeah, it is. Like, it ain't easy. But here's the thing. You're coming in on the ground floor, okay? You're getting in while it's easy, because none of your friends are out partying or doing anything without you. So it's not like you're fucking, you get to skip the whole FOMO part of getting sober. If you're getting sober right now, you get to skip the whole thing about like, everyone's out having fun without me. No, they're not. Nope, they're not. You are essentially, you get a fucking free card to just focus on your health and well-being right now. So yeah, it's tough that you are getting sober, and I commend everyone who's doing it. But listen, it could be worse. It could be fucking worse. You could have to still go to work every day with your raging fucking emotions and your crazy bullshit that you believe about yourself, that you're just finding out that you believe about yourself because you're actually experiencing feelings for once. You know, I mean, when I got sober, I was like, I kind of put myself into quarantine. I remember I had a job that I could not fucking hold down, and you know, I got fired, and I had to like train for another job, but for the most part, I only worked like 3 times a week, and this was seriously fucking, I was in a privileged situation. I was at like, I remember I lived in Brooklyn, and my dad was paying my rent for the most part. He was paying half of it. So I could afford to work 3 times a week, and all I fucking did was like, you know, go to meetings. And a lot of people ask me that too. They're like, how did you get sober? And I'm like, I feel like I talk about this all the time, but I got sober with a 12-step group, and I strongly, well, I can't suggest it for you. If it's not for you, it's not for you, but it definitely worked for me. You know, I needed new friends. I needed to learn how to live my life. I needed to learn how to like fucking grocery shop on my own. I didn't even know how to do that. I couldn't open mail, all that shit. So I learned like the basics of life just from going to a 12-step group and, you know, asking people questions that I thought were really fucking stupid, that they were like, no, I didn't know how to do that shit either once I got sober. So it helps. And as for why I got sober because I felt like my life was going nowhere and it meant nothing. Every day felt the same, kind of like now. And I needed to change something. I was like, I feel like I'm really of no use to anyone as I am right now. And I wanted my life to feel useful. And I also wanted it on an ego level to feel important, you know? And it just didn't. I was just like, I had all these dreams and nothing fucking matched. I remember I thought I was like this. I thought I was going to be this like artist in New York, and I thought everything was going to be cool, and I thought all my friends would be so artistic, and I had none. I had no friends. And I mean, I had a bunch of like drunk stories, but I didn't really have anybody to like tell them to, because they got sadder and sadder. And if you're listening to this and you're thinking like, am I an alcoholic? Am I not an alcoholic? I'm not fucking one to tell you if you are or you aren't. You're the only one who knows the answer to that. And that is all. That's all I can say about that. Listen, I remember avoiding even listening to people talk about alcoholism, because I was like, it just bummed me out, you know? And especially during a time like now, if you're fucking sitting in your house in quarantine and you're drinking every day, I mean, fucking more power to you. I don't know what... I honestly, on the one hand, I'm glad I'm not, because I just fucking... It would be a nightmare. But on the other hand, it's like, good God, just anything to make it feel like something is happening. Like, you know, because when you're drinking, it's like everything feels like something is happening. You're at a party, you're just walking outside, you're walking back inside, you're smoking a cigarette, you're just doing all this bullshit, and it all feels like you're in the middle of a movie. And if you were to watch it sped up on film, it would just look like a bunch of people like cleaning an apartment almost. But it just is getting dirtier and dirtier, and they all end up naked. Anyway, that's why I got sober. I don't even know really like how I ended up here. I didn't expect to be 12 years sober. That's insane to me. But you know, I really focused on it for like a solid 2 years. That was my primary fucking focus, was just like staying sober and getting my head right and learning how to, like, relearning how to be an adult. You know, like apologizing for shit when I fuck up, and which is still an issue for me. I hate saying I'm wrong. God damn it. You know, when they're like, oh, would you rather be right or would you rather be happy? I don't know if you guys have heard that phrase. A lot of times I can't fucking tell the difference. I'm like, well, they're the same to me. I feel like I've said that on a podcast before, but whatever, you know, who gives a shit? Need a little sip of LaCroix there to wash down that, preachy portion of the podcast. This person also asked what it's like ending a 6-year relationship. And the truth is, I don't know, because I've never made it to 6 years. I made it to 5 years with my last boyfriend. And what is it like ending it? I'm sure it's different for everyone. You know, like sometimes you'll break up with somebody and it feels like you're escaping something. It wasn't like that for me. I still really loved my ex when we broke up. I still love him very much now, you know? He's a huge part of my life. Huge. And, you know, I think it would be weird if I didn't feel love for him. I think that would be almost psychopathic. But I walked away from it because I realized, like, and I don't even think I realized it on a conscious level. I think I just felt it, that we didn't want the same things, and that we didn't really, like, there were things about me that he didn't understand, that, I could see him seeing me in a light that I was like, that's not who I am. And it's also not what I'm saying to you. You know, it's like when you're talking to somebody and they're not really hearing what you're saying because it's filtered through all these assumptions that they have about what it is that you're trying to do. And those assumptions may have something to do with you and they may not. But the point of the matter is, like, when it gets that complicated and you're not really seeing the person anymore, you're done, you know? Like, it really just came down to that. Like, we weren't seeing one another anymore. Like, he would say something and I would take offense to it, and he didn't mean any harm by it. It's just who he was, you know? So I ended up just being like, okay, there's things about you that you won't change and that I can't accept. there's things about me that, I'm not going to change and that you won't accept. So why don't we just end this before we hate each other? And he was like, yeah. And it just came down to that. And it was really sad. We were like really fucking bummed out about it. We didn't want to. I don't think we really either one of us really wanted to end it, but we didn't know what else to do. And we were tired of trying. And that's the thing. If you're tired of trying and you're tired and you're tired of your efforts being thwarted, the efforts that you do make, and it has to be a joint effort. Like if both people aren't willing to try, you're done. You can't be like, I'm trying and you're not. It's like you can see that, you can notice it, and you can be like, okay, I'm trying, they're not, so I got to walk away because I can't make them try. And that might seem like overly simplistic, but I really think that a lot of times with a complicated problem, there's really a simple answer. It's like, why do I keep losing my jobs? Why do I keep ending all of my relationships? It's like, oh, the simple answer is you're an alcoholic. It's like, I remember being in that place being like, why does shit fall out of the sky and ruin my life all the time? And it's like, oh, because you drink every day and you fight with people and you consider yourself a victim on every fucking level. So, and then you drink to try to solve the problem. Well, maybe stop drinking, So yeah, when it comes to relationships, I feel like I kind of see things in the same way. I kind of try to just look at things like in a simplistic way where I'm going, okay, I can't change this person. I have no power to change this person. That person can change on their own if they want to for themselves. And if changing themselves is for the sake of the relationship, I think even on some level, it still has to be for themselves. Like they have to want to be a better partner. And otherwise it just doesn't stick. I think, people might hear this and go, oh, so we're just like selfish creatures. And I don't think that's the truth either. I think that it has to do with like, we're all here. We've all got our own path. We all kind of, we're figuring shit out as we go. And we all have like a voice in our heads that's telling us to be better, to like do better. And we can choose to ignore it or we can choose to listen to it. And sometimes we can't even fucking hear it. Sometimes people are so far removed from that part of themselves that they can't even hear it. And you just got to recognize that too. Because those people are, you cannot be in a partnership with them because they don't know how to be partners. They suck. They suck in bed and they suck in life. Okay? And most of the time, they wear too many male accessories. People who have listened to all my podcasts know exactly who I'm talking about. Anyway, I think that answers that fucking topic, right? I think we got there with that. This girl says, talk about how people protesting the quarantine should be forced to work in hospitals. Okay, first of all, you are assuming that I agree with you. And how do you know that I do? Why do you think I agree with that? I think that's a dumb idea. People protesting the quarantine should be forced to work in the hospitals? That's your solution? You want to put sick people with no medical training at the bedside of people suffering from COVID-19? Okay. No, I mean, I know this person was joking, but it kind of adds to a larger problem, which is that this whole fucking thing happened. And it's like the whole human race is like incapable of looking inside themselves and going, I wonder why we created this reality for ourselves. I wonder why we are living in a state where we're having to be literally forced. I just said literally way too many times. Good Lord. Everyone's being forced to their separate corners. Everyone's being forced into their homes. We're getting a lot of space from one another. A lot of space where we could, if we wanted to, realize how much we need each other. But instead, we're not changing anything. And we're going, let's keep fighting with each other the way we were before. And separating ourselves into, I'm a good person, they're a bad person, rather than just like, hey, this person's misinformed. They are deciding that the rules don't apply to them. They see themselves as somehow separate from humanity. And I don't think judging them is going to help them feel more connected to us. People, I can't. I get so angry. Talking about this. It makes me so fucking mad because I'm like, this is another question that somebody wrote in with was they said talk about the consequences of the quarantine on us and society. And just the phrasing of that sentence. I'm going to start with the phrasing. Us and society. Motherfucker, who do you think makes up society? You think you're not part of this shit? And I know people are like, well, they just wrote into an Instagram question. No. Your beliefs are hidden in the way that you speak. Okay? So if you see yourself as somehow separate from the rest of society, but you are conscious enough to know that quarantining will help society at large, you're still not completely giving yourself over to the idea that we are all one. Because you're still looking at yourself as separate from the collective. Okay? The other part of the question that sort of bugged me was, it didn't bug me, but it kind of like made my fucking radar go up, is the person asked, what are the consequences of the quarantine? And I've gotten a lot of people, like I've interacted with a lot of people that we've talked about this topic. And everyone says, like, what are the consequences of this? As if this is some sort of mistake that we're making, that we're going to have to pay for later. And this is the consequence. Like, what's happening right now is the consequence. We are losing lives. We are losing connection with others. You guys can say like, oh, but we're more connected through the internet. And it's like, that's not the same fucking thing. What I'm saying is, this is not a mistake that we're here. Okay. If we're a collective consciousness, we all decided, we all made a series of choices that led us here. Okay. And we might feel the temptation to divide ourselves as the people who are doing good and the people who are doing bad. But if you're doing that, you're still missing the point. And the point is, we are all one. We all need each other. Okay? And the only way to kind of, as long as you're seeing yourself as one of the good ones, you're stopping progress from happening. Like you're you're ruining it. You're ruining our lives. This is so serious. I didn't expect this episode to get so fucking serious, but I really feel pretty passionately about this because I saw it even after Trump got elected. I remember, and I felt it myself. I was still in that place when Trump got elected. I was still in the place of like, I'm a good person and they're the bad people. And then I started seeing the connection between a liberal and a conservative, and they're just mirror images of one another. Like, you have liberals and conservatives both thinking that the people who disagree with them are stupid and should die. Okay? People who say like, oh yeah, the people who are out who refuse to quarantine should die. It's natural selection. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why do you think that? Why do you think that because someone is ignorant, they should die? Like, fucking get a grip. Knock it off. You know, I don't like to, you know, people go, oh, you make fun of liberals more than you make fun of conservatives. And I'm like, yeah, conservatives, they're stupid. It feels like punching down, you know? And I'm not saying that they're like stupid people and that's like that's like even a negative thing. I'm not even saying that. I'm just saying, like, why would I make fun of someone that is so self-satirizing? Right? Why would I make a joke about a joke? And you guys might be saying like, well, all of this sounds like you're seeing yourself as better than them. And the truth is I'm fucking not. I don't think the same things. That I don't think that they should be killed for not quarantining. I think they should be fucking educated, right? That's all. I just think they are probably getting their news from a source that is shitty. I think that, I think the same thing about liberals, okay? The ones that say, like, oh yeah, it's natural selection. These people should fucking die, or they should be forced to work in a hospital. It's like, what? It just reeks of someone that only speaks to people who agree with them. And, you know, I may come out of this podcast with none of you agreeing with me, and I'd still be better off than if all of you agreed with me. So that's kind of where I'm at with this whole fucking thing. I'm like, I don't think that this is, I don't think we're in a bad place. I think that there are some serious fucking lessons that could be learned from this whole situation. It almost feels like God put us all in like our separate corners, and he was like, okay, these people are fighting a lot. Let's see what happens if I just put them in their homes, give them a timeout. You know, maybe they'll cool out on some of the political bullshit. And then he like tunes into fucking MSNBC and Fox and Twitter, and he's like, God damn it, I can't stop these motherfuckers. Like, when are we going to start to try to understand the other side? When is that going to fucking happen? And when is that idea even going to be looked at as a positive thing? You know, because there's people that are listening to this that probably are thinking like, or, you know, that hear certain sides and they go, if you can understand where they're coming from, you're an idiot too. And there is no way that that person is going to make any progress for the human race. I think spiritually, you know, not that I'm here trying to fucking, I don't know. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about anymore. Most of the time I feel like you know what I feel like? Like a skeptical witch. I'm thinking about letting Andy cut my hair. That's where I'm at. Thinking about letting my fiance take some scissors to my motherfucking hair. I have been cutting my own bangs. I'm actually doing a pretty fucking good job at it. I might even do a bang trimming thing on Instagram Live. What would you guys think about that? If I did a little bang trim instructional video, teach people how to trim their bangs in quarantine. I actually fucking love that idea. I might do that. Because it's not that hard. You just chop up. You just chop upwards, you know? And you take just a teeny little bit off. You don't go crazy, and you don't cut across, and you don't hold your bangs forward like a lot of people do. You just leave your bangs as they are. You style them as you normally would, and then you cut upwards until, and you go really fucking slow until you like what you see. Like where my bangs are at right now, if you're watching on YouTube, this was courtesy of 3 or 4 bang trims. Yeah, I'd say 3 or 4 sessions of me going, okay, I think I can go a little bit further. Okay, I think I can go a little further than that. Oh, man. It's good that a lot of comedians are being forced to wear masks because, you know, we've been talking shit for so long. It's nice for us to be forced to smell our own breath. Did I say that on the last podcast? That's like a bit that I'm kind of working on. And if I said it on the last podcast, I'm sorry. I'm putting out 7 or 8 podcasts a fucking week. And I'm talking myself into a hellhole. Just trying to connect. You know? So the more you guys can give me feedback, the better off we'll be. The happier I'll be, the happier you'll be. Which is why I went to you guys for all of these topics. I'm so happy I did. You guys really saved the day this week. And I feel pretty goddamn good about it. You know what else I was thinking about this week? I was thinking about when I learned to curse. Like when I was a kid. And my God. What a fucking powerful feeling. The best part about quarantine is how your thoughts just go into like old memories that you never thought you'd revisit. I've remembered shit that I thought I just mistook it for trauma. I was like, I guess I can't remember my childhood because maybe I was molested or something. But turns out, no, I just hadn't thought about it in a while. I learned to curse when I was like 8 or 9. And I felt like I'd bought a fucking gun. I felt powerful like I've never felt powerful before. I was like, I can do anything with this. I ran out onto the soccer field. I was like, I am going to lay these motherfucking curse words down and I'm just going to knock every one of these cunts over. I was so excited. It's like, it gave me the same feeling as like shaving my legs as a teen. Was I a teen? Yeah, I was. I was old. I was old when I started shaving my legs because I was the oldest in my family, and for some reason I thought to shave my legs I needed my parents' permission. That's an embarrassing fact. Yep. I wrote my mother a heartfelt letter, okay, from summer camp, from Christian girls' summer camp. And I told her, Mom, all the girls in my cabin are doing this. And I need to do it too. But I don't want to do it unless you tell me it's okay. And I remember my mom writing back with like warnings that belonged on like the outside of a cigarette box in terms of how dramatic they were. Okay. She was like, if you shave your legs, that hair is going to grow back aggressively like a 3-headed dog that won't be contained. Do you guys remember this? I remember shaving was somehow like this dangerous thing. It was like you were signing up to like for a chore that you would never ever escape. And the truth is, I could choose not to shave whenever I want. Charlie, you okay? Sorry, Charlie's acting like a psychopath. He's being a real asshole this week. He got sick. He got so sick. My poor dog, Charlie, my best friend, my sweet little idiot, Charlie. He had some sort of fucked up thing happen with his stomach, and he was like shaking, and it was so fucking scary. I immediately thought he had cancer. I was like freaking out, rushing to the vet. I spent $1,700 this week in vet bills. Fuck me. Right up the ass with a vet scalpel. Anyway, he's feeling better now, which is great. And I'm happy for him. And, you know, you get worried enough for your dog. You're like, I don't give a shit what it costs. I will give you the contents of my bank account. All of it. I was like, please don't let this motherfucker die. And turns out he was nowhere near death. And there was no need for my dramatic insanity. But thank God he's okay now. You know? What a sweet little bitch. Okay. It is now time for bad advice, you guys. I'm going to offer some shitty advice. Okay. This is from Taylor. I met this guy in Mexico in December. He's American from California. Okay. He came to visit me in Canada in January for almost 2 weeks. And we reunited in Mexico for February. That's the next month. And most of March before shit hit the fan. Currently stressing out about trying to keep the flame going without knowing whether we will be able to see each other again. Any suggestions? If you want some bad advice here, what I would do is I'd send him a knife. Okay? Write your name on it. Use blood. Put it in a bag. And leave no other context. So he doesn't know whether or not it was a murder weapon used to kill you, or if it was a weapon that you wrote your name on to cut yourself. Or no, that you wrote your name on in your own blood for some reason, for I don't know, whatever reason, okay? Hopefully he's going to think, holy shit, she's been killed. And then he's going to think, what kind of killer has the emergency contact information of their victim? And why would she put me as her emergency contact? It's going to raise all kinds of questions. What I'm saying is he'll be thinking about you. And that, my friends, is how you keep excitement going in a relationship. I might do the same fucking thing to Andy tonight. I might put a knife under his bed, under his pillow. I might hide behind the house. I might sign it, the Coyotes. All right? He might think the Coyotes somehow made use of their weird dog thumb and learned how to stab me. Who knows? What I'm saying is, this is how you keep excitement going. By making bad decisions. All right? So that is your segment of bad advice, you guys. This was a really fun episode for me. I hope it was fun for you. I don't even know where we went. I feel like I've been lost with a blindfold on, and I opened my eyes and I was just right back in front of my house. this was a blackout episode. And that's what it's going to be called. Guys, thank you again, as always, for tuning in. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for rating it. Again, please, if you have some time this week, review the podcast on iTunes, share it, post a screenshot of yourself listening to it. It really helps me. It helps people learn about it, which is, and it also makes me look successful on Instagram, which is the only way I can look successful now. That's it. There's no other, I can't be out in the world doing anything. So truly, you guys are my lifeline. You are the only thing making me feel like I still have a purpose. And it is, you're truly doing God's work. Anyway, I love you guys so much. Thank you. I'll see you next week. Bye.